Hi guys, so since January the UK has begun the process of checks on goods moving from the EU into Great Britain. Now it must be remembered that not all checks are being carried out. I've covered this before in another video. What's happening is certain checks began in January, but the next set of controls will begin on the 1st of July. Further checks will be implemented later on in the year. So the important question for importers at the moment is, will Great Britain be ready to introduce the new checks on the 1st of July? This was taken up by the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee headed by Neil Parish, and they looked at evidence from a number of people representing businesses. Here Karen Betts, the CEO of the Food and Drink Federation, explained one of the problems that could be beyond the control of the British government.
Karen, I saw you nodding your head in response to Andrew's comments. Do you want to just expand on your thoughts around whether the delay and the reasons for that were not on this side of the channel but elsewhere?
I mean, I think in general, the delay has been helpful. What's happening overall is a significant change on our side and on the EU side to the movement of a lot of perishable goods, in whatever categories those lie. So, I mean, it's a significant change for ports and border officials in the UK, and it is a significant change on the continent. So we do want to be sure that there is proper official vet capacity in the EU, that all the checks, and on a mixed product for us, if you're moving a ready meal, a ready-made lasagna from Austria to the UK, you've got a whole range of different ingredients in that product that will need to be checked. And so there absolutely does need to be the capacity on the EU side in order for those certificates to be signed off, for the product to move. There needs to be the capacity on this side as well. The volumes are not insignificant, and the government says it's going to be pragmatic, which we are, we're grateful for, and they say they're going to check low volumes, but even a low volume is quite a lot of checks. And what we do want to make sure is that when the checks come into place, that they can run as smoothly as possible. Sure, there are no doubt going to be teething problems, but that we are moving in the right direction. And a real issue for us, I think, will be about groupage and small loads. One of the issues that we have had previously going in the other direction is hauliers have to be prepared to take a mixed load. And so, we need to have confidence on both sides that can work, and that it is an economic route for smaller loads of goods to be moved across. So yes, any delay that enables us to be more confident that the processes being put in place will work has been helpful.
Now, what she's talking about here about delays is delays in implementing the checks, not delays at the ports. Now, as I said, what's happening is that a lot of these checks were supposed to come in on the 1st of January, but they're not. So they've been postponed and they've been staggered. So some checks are going to come in also in November, as far away as November. The point here that she's talking about here, of course, is that you can prepare as much as you want on the UK side, but if it's not prepared on the other side, then you're in trouble. And there's nothing really you can do about it. Now, we would hope that the UK government is speaking to representatives in the European Union in order to avoid these problems. Because if the paperwork is not correct on the EU side, it's not going to get to the UK. And there's nothing importers on the UK side can do about that. They can attempt to put pressure on their suppliers. But if the problem is at a port in France or in the Netherlands, there's nothing the UK side can do about it. Now, that's why I hope that UK officials are putting Brexit rhetoric and the Brexit mentality aside for a moment and really dealing with these issues, because if they're not, then there's going to be delays. Now, we're in the very beginning of March. There is still a number of months to go. According to the committee listened to evidence presented, and it seems that the infrastructure is in place. So that's something that's positive. The staff are not up to speed. There aren't enough staff at the moment, but that is also because the checks have not begun. So there are a number of months to recruit the staff necessary, and let's hope that that happens. So the positives is that the infrastructure is in place. There aren't staff available yet, but that may not be a problem. It's not a problem at the moment, but hopefully it won't be a problem in July. And of course, the issue of working with the European Union to iron out any issues that do arise. As I said before, none of this was necessary, but the UK government decided we want to be outside the single market and the customs union. These businesses have to adapt. They can complain to government, they can try and put pressure on government to reach out to the European Union, but at the end of the day, as I said before, they have to work around the problems of Brexit. They're not going to receive a lot of support from the government. These checks are going to become a problem, of course. There's extra paperwork, extra red tape. But what's positive as well on another side is that these checks are coming in July, and it seems that this is when most of the freight arriving in the UK when it comes to food and foodstuffs is at its lowest in the year. So this is probably the best time to bring in these checks, and in order to build up capacity. Let's hope that things go well. We can check it out on the 1st of July. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.